Hey guys, Adam Lobo here from Adam Lobo TV. So the Apple Spring Loaded event just happened. Rumored to be on the month of March initially, but ended up in April. So rest in peace, John Prosser's original eyebrows. I'm sure it'll come back stronger or even thicker. Anyway, if you guys have missed it, here's everything that you need to know and what my thoughts are on the releases. Firstly, there was the announcement of the new and refreshed look of the Apple Podcast app. Now, this comes with a new channel style of layout, where there's also the introduction of Apple Podcast subscriptions that kind of unlocks some new kind of content and also is totally ad-free. Now, this is something that may not relate to me, as I'm one of the very few human beings in the world who does not really listen to podcasts. But yes, this is surely a huge benefit for those of you who have been using the Apple Podcast app. Next, there's a brand new purple color iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 mini. Now to me, this looks way much better than the iPhone 11's purple, as this was a bit darker, and the matching color of the frame also made it look nicer overall from an aesthetic point of view. Right after that, Apple finally officially announced the AirTags, which is a tiny Bluetooth low energy device which has a coin-like shape to use as a sort of a tracker through the Apple's Find My app. Now, while there's other brands coming up with this kind of trackers, firstly, the design of this looks way much sleek and minimal, which I liked. And the accessories of the AirTags also looks really neat. And speaking of minimal, you can also customize the logo to put on your own, which was kind of sweet. Now, among all the typical tracking features, one thing that really stood out to me the most is how accurately you can measure the distance from the iPhone to the AirTags, which Apple calls it precision finding. Now, that was a huge plus, but this only works with iPhones which has the U1 chipset, which is only from the iPhone 11 onwards. Now, one might wonder about the privacy issues, but one huge credit that needs to be mentioned about Apple is how that they have always been the best when it comes to privacy related things, so that will give you the peace of mind. Now, in terms of pricing, it is priced at 149 ringgit for the 1-pack, where they don't seem to have the 4-pack option at this moment here in Malaysia. Following that, Apple introduced the new Apple TV 4K. Equipped with the A12 Bionic chipset, it can play HDR content and supports high frame rates, and this high frame rate can also be played via AirPlay 2, which was also nice to know. And being the kind of person who is obsessed by getting the right color balance in all of my 6K resolution YouTube videos, or even when I look at any screen, Apple has introduced a very cool feature, which is the new color balance feature that works in tandem with iPhone through the camera, proximity sensor and the light sensor that guides you to an on-screen target, and it will measure it accordingly to get the best color balance depending on your environment. Then there's also a newly refreshed remote with jaw controls, and the Siri button is available on the side, which for me as a person who does not like to use remotes much, I use voice assistant most of the time to access content, so I did not find much benefit for me over there, but it might benefit you. And this new Apple TV 4K is priced at 849 ringgit for the 32GB option and 949 ringgit for the 64GB option. And the next introduction that really got me all excited about Mac again is the new iMac. Firstly, it has finally completely redesigned and it has many color options, following the look very similar to the iMac G3 way back in 1998, which was the first ever time that I fell in love with a Mac. Now keep in mind that this is a direct replacement for the 21.5-inch iMac, so not a replacement for the 5K iMac, so you won't be getting some crazy specs over here, but it has been expanded to a 24 inches with a 4.5K Retina display with a resolution of 4480 by 2520 and also an improved 1080p FaceTime camera. Now I am on the fence of the chin of the display, as this was something that I really need to see for myself, whether or not it would bother me. Now the reason for this bigger chin is because of all the components are housed over there to give that really thin form factor. Now the overall build is super slim thanks to Apple's new M1 chipset, so no question about the performance over there, where it is all housed together with the new and improved 6-speaker system, which apparently has crystal clear mids and highs and a very good bass, which as an audiophile it makes me really curious to hear how that sounds. And speaking of sound, it also supports spatial audio, which you know, that 3D audio sound on steroids, which also has Dolby Atmos support as well. Now from an I/O or a ports perspective, it has no SD card reader like the previous generation, which was kind of obvious, where it now has 4 USB-C port, where 2 out of the 4 is a Thunderbolt 3 ports that can support up to a 6K display. Then the 3.5mm headphones jack is at the side instead of the back, so thank God they did not get rid of that. And the Ethernet port is not connected through the back, as it is now through the power brick. Yet another super cool idea with a new power connector which almost looks like the old school MagSafe adapter, which uses magnets for the connection, and this power cable is also color matched accordingly to the color that you guys choose. Then there's also a bunch of new keyboard options, especially with a brand new Touch ID enabled wirelessly. Well, like, really? That's kind of cool, because think about it. You scan your fingerprint and then it transmits via Bluetooth to log into your Mac. And the mouse and the trackpad will also be color matched. And speaking of color matching, if I were to place the iMac over here, what color do you guys think will look great? Red, silver, or purple? Let me know at the comment section below. And looking at the price of this new iMac, it starts at 5,599 ringgit. Then finally, Apple ends the event with 2 iterations of the M1 iPad Pro. Now from a performance point of view, on the 11 inches and the 12.9 inches, it has now 50% faster CPU and 40% faster graphics. And remember that the iPad has always been one of the over-the-top performer when it comes to other companies producing tablets, making this new iPad Pro to be even light years ahead in the tablet industry. And what's nice is that it also supports PlayStation and Xbox controls, and you can have a full-fledged gaming experience on the iPad Pro for games like Devil May Cry, or even high-intensity apps like Adobe Photoshop or even Lightroom to work. Now, if there's only a Final Cut Pro version for the iPad. Oh well. And what also has been improved is that instead of USB-C, it has a Thunderbolt port instead, which makes file transfer speeds to be super duper fast, and there's also a 5G support for the cellular version. And if you guys are one of those people who actually takes photos on a tablet or even use the front video camera, it has now a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with a 122-degree field of view, where this field of view is what allows the new feature called Center Stage, which uses machine learning algorithm that follows you when you go out of frame and recognizes if there's another person in the frame as well. And what sets the 11 inches and the 12.9 inches apart is the fact that the 12.9 inches is equipped with the Liquid Retina XDR display, which is using the mini LED display technology with 1600 nits of peak brightness and a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. In terms of price, it starts at 3,499 ringgit for the 11-inch model and 4,799 ringgit for the 12.9-inch variant. Now, in terms of availability of each here in Malaysia, there's no official word yet, so either you can head out to Apple's website to get updated, or of course, subscribe to Adam Lobo TV if you guys haven't done so to get your updates. So guys, with this, out of all of these new releases, do let me know which really sparked your interest at the comment section below, and let's discuss over there.